r/askreddit. Parents of Reddit, why are you disappointed in your adult child? He's 23 and mean as hell to everyone including his GF and their kids. He tells her things like that's why nobody wants you to her, and to me he says things like my kids don't even like you. They are damn babies, how do they know who they like yet? Did they tell him and they can't even talk? I had to cut him out of my life because the hurt he caused me was unreal and I was having issues in my daily life over it. Do you know what contributed to his behavior like that? Such as if he hung out with a bad crowd or had internal mental problems? Not to be nosy or anything, just curious. Following this thread to find my parents. Same. He isn't even looking for a job or to get out of the house. He just eats my food without paying a penny and watches TV or plays all day. 2-year-olds are so entitled. Needs to put on his work booties and start etch-a-sketching that resume. Had us in the first half. Oof, perfect timing. She's currently home for the summer and heads back to college in a few days. I feel bad for saying this, but I'm honestly ashamed that she's still enrolled there. This will be her 5th semester there, but she was supposed to have failed all her classes her 2nd semester. And 3rd. And 4th. Every semester, she skips class and parties, not even attempting her schoolwork. Then when the school goes to kick her out, she appeals the decision and somehow, I honestly have no idea how, gets her professors to bump her grades just high enough for her to pass and continue on another semester. She lost all of her scholarships and grants already. Initially, I was paying whatever tuition costs were left over, and then was paying 75% of tuition and she got student loans for the rest. She was home for break last semester and I overheard her on the phone bragging to one of her friends about how she doesn't do any work because all she has to do is file an appeal to pass her classes. I was appalled, and now that I know that, I'm not paying a dime. I just don't understand why she does it or if I'm somehow responsible for causing this behavior as her father. But we were poor when she was younger and even now, we're maybe lower middle class. She wasn't spoiled and saw how hard I worked to provide for her. We had an agreement when she turned 16 that if she wanted a car, she was responsible for paying for gas. She got a part-time job and so I got her a used car. My thought was that working to earn gas money would teach her firsthand the value of a dollar. That was the best way I could think of to teach her and give her some real life experience. I don't know if it didn't stick or what, but she seems perfectly content to keep up the routine and get a degree handed to her. I worked for everything I have, and everything she has. Her college fund was a result of me squirreling away every dime I could for 10 years. She's currently pissed at me for it, but I will not continue to use this money to literally buy her a degree. I've begrudgingly decided to take a step back and let her handle her education on her own. Serious question, does she actually want to go to college? She may be acting this way because she doesn't want to go, but may feel like she doesn't have a choice, and therefore isn't trying at all because she doesn't care about it. I did stupid shit like this too when I first went to college. I'm fixing it now on my own time and my own dime, but that was because I literally didn't want to go. But my parents metaphorically held a gun to my head and said if you don't get a 4-year degree then you'll always be a failure, and, though I handled it extremely poorly, I felt like I was between a rock and a hard place and I couldn't win no matter what I did, so I just half-assed it and hated myself. Not making an excuse for this behavior, but it's something worth looking at. She may hate college, but feel like, for whatever reason, she has no choice but to go. And being put in an unwinnable position will make people do incredibly stupid things. Edit. You Imwiththul, who I want to emphasize that I'm not trying to blame you for this behavior or insinuate that it's your fault, because it's not. She's a grown woman who is accountable for her own actions. However, it's possible that she may feel like she's compelled to go to college when, deep down, she doesn't want to go, and is acting out in this way because she feels cornered and powerless. Sometimes parents can accidentally create expectations for their kids to live up to without realizing it, and end up pushing too hard in an effort to provide for their child things that they themselves never had or things that brought them a great deal of pride, joy. This is a perfectly normal thing that happens to most parents in some fashion. and comes from a good place of trying to help your kids have a better life, but it can be devastating if it's not addressed or dealt with and create all sorts of problems for your relationship. She may hate you for pushing her to do something she hates and for feeling like she's not in control of her own adult life, and you may resent her for behaving like a child and essentially spitting on the things you're trying to do for her, and for self-sabotaging herself with drastic, long-term repercussions. I'd figure this out before she goes back if you can, but it may take some self-evaluation on your part to make sure you're not painting her into a corner before you talk to her. No drive, no ambition, and no work ethic worth a damn. He's 25, he peaked in 6th grade. Hi mom. When I graduated high school my mom told me I had 6 months to move out. It sounds harsh but she had told me my entire life that when I turn 18 I would be moving out, so it wasn't unexpected. She also told me to never grow up also, so it never had to happen, so it's not like she was a bad mom. Anyway, it's probably the best thing she ever did for me because she knew if there was no pressure I would have stayed home and played video games and been a loser. I've now lived in multiple states 1,000s of miles away and have tons of real life and work experience to draw off of. And I still play video games. I appreciate my mom for that. She has not become a multimillionaire and decided to fund my retirement. But she's only just turned 18. I give her a year or two to sort it out. Her age is no excuse. The cash me outside girl is already a millionaire and she's only 16. Get your daughter to Dr. Phil, stat. My mom is extremely disappointed with me because I'm not having kids. It was my sole purpose in life. Good for you. I ended up with kids, but after 7 years of getting to know and enjoy being with my wife. I fully support anyone who doesn't want kids. It's important to be for you and not someone else. My stepmom never wanted kids, and when she told her parents that at the age of 25, her mother responded in a rather humorous way. At least tell me you will have pets. She later married my mom when she was in her mid-40s and had me as her stepdaughter. Even though she never wanted to be a mom, she is a great stepmom. And yes, we had 2 cats and a dog. I didn't want kids. Then the condom broke or whatever. Now I have a son going off to college on Monday. It's been a good ride and I'm very interested in the fact that I went from never having kids to well, now I have 3. It was like, okay, well I'm having a kid now. Then it was like, huh, this is kind of cool. I like this little dude. Then it was like, hey, I have someone I can play Xbox with that can't leave my house and I can beat him every time. Then he started beating me every time and it was like, fuck this kid. Play with people online. Now he's off to college and it's cool to see the progress he's made. He is in prison for life. Could you tell us what he did? If you are comfortable with it. I'm not disappointed in my 18-year-old, but I sure wish I knew how to activate him. He graduated in May, has no desire to go to college and no real aspirations at all. He's pretty much been in his room on his phone since. He's struggled for many years with anxiety, which we're treating, and I know a lot of things are difficult for him, but man, I wish I knew how to get him excited about something, anything, whether it's a job or a hobby or a plan or whatever. At 18, I was exactly the same. Didn't really care about anything, certainly didn't feel like an adult. I'm just shy of 23 now, and I did come out of it, slowly and painfully. At the same time, not everyone I know did. Some of my friends are in exactly the same place they were at the end of high school, except that they go to a job instead of school. So you can't just sit back and hope he figures it out either. I'd suggest helping him cultivate a healthy personal life more so than pushing him to start making money honestly. Hobbies are a great help, especially if they push him to be a little more social. I spent absurd amounts of time as a teen holed up in my room with my guitar, and that skill eventually led to me branching out and meeting people at jam sessions. Not a parent, but some current drama in my family has my parents pretty upset with my brother. He was having trouble with maintaining a job, so my dad got him hired as an assistant in his painting business. All he had to do was show up and do easy tasks and he would have the hours needed to pay for his car and living expenses. He did fine for a couple of months, but then my dad and mom went on holiday. He went home early without telling anyone one day, then the next work day he pulled a no-show. So my dad gets a call that he didn't show up and he won't answer his phone. Dad tried to call him and got no answer over several hours. Finally my mom got through to his girlfriend, who said that my brother told her he had talked to dad and he said he could have the day off. A complete lie. My brother is required to make regular payments to my parents for the car they helped him buy. As long as he keeps making payments, he has access to the car. If he misses a payment, he loses access to the car until he pays. He decided to get a delivery job that doesn't give enough hours to make his car payment, but still requires his car. So he says he got this job, and he needs his car. So he is allowed to keep his car even though he is missing payments. Everyone just found out he doesn't have a delivery job, or a job at all. So he has lost his car and all references for a new job. His girlfriend hasn't been too impressed with the lying either. Edit. My brother is 20 years old and the youngest sibling of 8. The family dynamic in my story was simplified for easy reading. My family is actually split. Dad is actually my stepdad. Brother is my youngest stepbrother. I don't consider my step siblings different from full siblings because my parents remarried when I was fairly young, so step siblings, half siblings, and bio siblings don't have a notable difference. In total I have 13 siblings, while some of us only have 8. He does get spoiled for being youngest, and he also misses out on a lot because he is the youngest. I am almost 10 years older than him, and I didn't even meet him until I was an adult. We are fairly close though. Also, I am not really taking any sides in this. I don't approve of my parents giving him handouts and babying him. But I also don't approve of some of his behavior that he has picked up from the crowd he hangs out with. They are both the idiots here and, to an extent, the victims. I just sit off to the side and observe with popcorn. It is between them and they will figure it out. How does this guy have a GF? You all need to do him a favor and drop this deadbeat. My parents are disappointed in me because I won't pretend I wasn't damaged from their abuse. He's 20, not my child, stepchild. Doesn't have a job. Play games all day. Doesn't contribute anything to the house. Mean to his little brother more often than not, my son, and completely selfish. His mother's birthday is coming up soon. I stopped reminding him about it when he went 18. Last year he stayed up all night playing games, woke up at 8 PM on her birthday, asked her to buy him a monitor with some money his dad gave him. Didn't even wish her happy birthday, get her a present, a card or anything. I would personally make him homeless, or make him live with his dad, who certainly wouldn't put up with his shit, but it would probably end my relationship. I recommend therapy for you and your wife. You both want him to be happy and do well, but she wants it right now, and you want for long after you and your wife can no longer care for him. My mom held getting a degree as one of the pinnacle achievements you can do because it was such a big deal to her going back to school and getting her degree in her 40s. As someone who works in IT, I dropped out about a year into school and haven't looked back. That was 10 years ago. I hid that I dropped out for many years before I actually told her. She was disappointed, but in my opinion, the astronomical cost of a degree does not have a good ROI, and in IT, I've worked up to a very high salary level without one. Certifications, mentors, learning on the job and at home. To me a 4-year degree doesn't make much logical sense in a fast-moving field like this one. I'm disappointed in my son because he is too much like me. He's a solid introvert who is afraid to ask for help and doesn't want to bother people, even with very legitimate requests. He is an expert procrastinator. I remember being that age and being so much like that. I'm not sure how I got through university, but I've been a successful engineer for 30 years, so I've still got a lot of hope for him. Also, both my kids vape smoke. We've been anti-smokers for all our adult lives and I'm sad to see them choose to do something negative like that. They both want to quit, but it's a tough road. I'm in the middle of becoming estranged from my parents. They don't approve of how I'm raising my sons, and they can't even bring themselves to be around them. Our last attempt at a family vacation left my sisters yelling at my parents, and then storming off. Their complaint is that I don't have any boundaries for the kids. I do have boundaries, they just aren't the same as my dad had when I was growing up. He was the hardest with major anger issues. He threw me up a stairwell once when I left my boots behind at a park. Due to living in that household, I'm attempting to let my kids grow up knowing that making mistakes is part of life. You just have to learn from it. In any event, my children are monsters and he can't get over that, so I'm about to cut him and my stepmom out of our lives. I took an easy job. They had high expectations and pushed hard for me to be the best of the best at everything I can but won't if I'm not forced. Having no work-related pressure or stress is much nicer for me, but I'm somewhat poor and relatively uninfluential. I'm the adult child. My parents want me to be happy in my career. In high school, my goal was to join the military and become a combat medic. I graduated in 2007 and would have likely deployed to Afghanistan upon completion of training. My parents really didn't want me to join the military because, like all parents, they didn't want me to go to war. Yet they still supported me. As it worked out, I never did join the military and became a welder. I hate my job and it's caused me a lot of stress and instability over the last 10 years. Every day, I regret not following my dream. I know my dissatisfaction and regret with my job and life has disappointed my parents. However, I'm looking into a major career change and they're fully supportive of that, in ways I can't begin to describe. Hopefully soon I can make them happy for me by being happy in my career. My mum's disappointed that I left a £33,000 a year job for a £28,000 job because I had 2 mental breakdowns, even though everything is now perfect. Sometimes we just have to get on with it. I'm not. Life is hard and she had dealt with a lot. She may not be fully independent yet, but she's working on it. I see her effort and I'm proud of her for it. Maybe I could be disappointed she didn't do more stupid stuff when she was young, but I'm just glad she didn't end up like me. Eater, I'm not in a bad place now, but I'm sure as hell lucky to have gotten here and not ended up dead in a ditch somewhere. My ex-husband was the son that my parents wanted their actual son to be. So they're pissed that my brother isn't like him and they're pissed that I divorced him. Double whammy. Never mind that we just fundamentally did not work as a couple. They basically see it as me stealing away their chance at having the perfect child in a son-in-law. Oh well. Click because, for some reason, I was looking to hate myself more. Found less reasons for that, surprisingly. Well played, Reddit. It looks like an egg and smells like cabbage.